On today's video, we're talking about why paint protection film sucks. Seriously, really bad. Like, it's awful. It's probably one of my least favorite things ever. That and the word buff, but we'll save that for another video. So let's jump into it. So I'm going to show you what paint protection film looks like on a car that's 3 years old, that's exotic. And you know, this car was driven a lot. Even though it's exotic, it was driven 36,000 miles in about 3 or 4 years. And let's see if you feel like this customer originally got value out of it. So as I walk you around this car, I want to show you just some things that are really obvious that stand out that are not right. So you're going to see these black lines where the PPF basically peeled back, and then when it peels back, that glue is still there, and then dirt goes in there, usually during washes or just driving on the road, and that dirt goes into the glue. Glue is sticky, dirt is sticking into that glue, and then you get a black line. Now you can trim those lines back with a knife, basically like a razor, and you can kind of fix it, but you don't want to keep doing that, so you just want to avoid it in general. Now when you have the paint protection film peeling back like this, it gets really unsightly on cars that are not dark colors. If this was a black car, it would conceal it. It'd be really, really hard to see it. On a yellow car, on a white car, it gets really easy to see it, and it looks really, really bad. Now, when you tuck edges, you avoid this problem a lot, but tucked edges will still peel back and become a problem. And in some places, you just flat out can't tuck an edge, so it's going to peel back. Now on top of that, you're going to see all the problematic spots that have rock chips in them that look like rock chips even though they're in the film, and you'll also see the bird etching that I'm going to show you. All right, there's a couple of these, so I'm going to show you all of them, but this is a rock chip. This is what a rock chip in paint protection film looks like. It looks like a rock chip, right? What the hell is that? Why did we put film on a car to stop rock chips just to get rock chips in the film that look like rock chips? Okay, so I'm going to walk you guys around each panel that has paint protection film on it and just show you what it looks like currently. See how the film has dirt collecting in the edges? And then it gets real bad right here. This is part of the front bumper, and we have the same thing. And again, there's no way to tuck this. So that's just how it looks. I'm sure it took a long time for this to happen, probably 3 years. But now you guys, this is not even a conversation about rock chips. This is just a conversation about paint protection film. Would that drive you nuts? That would drive me nuts. This one is really, really bad. Like, it's totally started to bubble back. It's like literally got trapped dirt and water and stuff in there. There's no water in there currently, but like that's really bad. I mean, that's a really ugly thing to look at on a car that's this much money. And then, look at the edge. Like, I can't fix that. Like, that's underneath the film, like back a millimeter. Like, I can't get in there with anything to fix that. So this is a rock chip. Again, that's a big old rock chip in the hood. I really inspected that carefully, and I don't believe it went through the film, so that means the paint is okay. So if you wanted to rewrap this hood, there would not be a chip in the paint, which is wonderful news. But while we still have this, there's this huge, ugly rock chip that continues to collect dirt, and it leaves this big old black dot on there, and that's the equivalent of having a rock chip, and that sucks. So there's a couple of those. There's another one right there on the front. This is a really good example of this one right here anyways is a good example of, what do you do now? Do you rewrap this hood, which is like $700 to rewrap it just for that little dot? Or if you had no paint protection film, would you bring the car to me and I would do touch-up paint in that for free, and like boom, it's back to 99%. I don't know. To me, that sounds pretty good. And then again, we've got another one here. So we've got 2 hits in the hood, and like it's just collecting dirt, so it's getting worse and worse and worse. So this chip is really bad. That maybe hit the bumper, but we're still not sure. I think the bumper survived it, but it rips and tears the film. That's what rock chips do to plastic paint protection film. They rip and tear the film. And when that happens, you get these really ugly scrapes in the film, and then dirt likes to collect in those. And now you have this big thing. So again, if you didn't have paint protection film, you're gonna go, oh man, I wish I had paint protection film. That would have stopped it. And the reality is, no, it wouldn't. It would have just destroyed your film. Now that your film was destroyed, are you going to replace the film every time that happens? Because he'd have to rewrap the whole thing. There's a chip literally in almost every panel on this car. So the question is, how many times do you replace the film before you go broke replacing film that's very expensive? This is probably like a $3,500 front end to do, something like that. I mean, this is a complicated car to wrap. So how many times, and if you want it done perfectly where we're tucking all the edges and hiding things and maybe taking some things out, like trim, like for example, if we took like this piece of trim out, we could wrap it better. If you want that crazy perfect install, yeah, it's gonna cost more money because it's expensive. It's expensive to do all that stuff in labor. So how many times do you do that before you're just like, oh my God, we're just like blowing money like there's no tomorrow? Now this here is a bird dropping poop. So a bird pooped on this. It stayed on the film for too long. And then because the hood gets hot from the engine being underneath it, it etches into the film. So again, film is not impervious to these kinds of problems. There is no way to fix that. This is literally ruined forever. If you want to remove that from the car, you would have to rewrap the hood. You cannot polish out an etching from plastic. It's literally, it's one and done, that's it. It's like getting a bird etching in matte paint. If that happens, you have to repaint the car. If this happens to film, you have to rewrap the hood. All right, so just to show you guys real quick, this upper piece is its own seamless piece. If you're doing an install with me, that would be its own seamless piece. There might be a seam right there, but technically we would wrap this whole thing. So this whole piece and then into this section here, and then I would wrap that and that would all be one piece. This piece is separate, so that would be its own piece. These little fork things would be their own piece. This black piece of trim in here would be its own piece. There's another piece of black trim here. That's its own piece there. And then that yellow would be its own piece. And then the black piece under that would be its own piece. And then you wouldn't do any of that grill stuff. So, and then this black trim here would be its own piece. So the point I'm trying to make here is this is like an extremely expensive bumper to wrap because you even when you're doing it seamless, you're wrapping that whole bumper in like 7 pieces of film, plus the headlights if you wanted to do them. So to replace all these pieces repeatedly would be really, really, really expensive. Most bumpers are just one piece and it's like, you know, $700 or something, but this is like a $1,000 bumper to wrap because there's so many freaking pieces. So the labor rate goes through the roof. So depending on the car, there's a lot of costs, and when there's cost, that makes replacing it complicated because it's really a conundrum. It's like, do you replace it or do you not replace it? Because it's going to keep costing me money. So these are problems that paint protection film are not impervious to. But people put these, you know, these big plastic sheets on their car and they think that they're protecting their car. And it's, guys, everything that happens to your paint happens to paint protection film. The reality is every customer I've ever met so far who has paint protection film, when they have these problems happen, they go, how much is it to replace it? We give them the price and they go, oh, that's too much money, I'm not going to replace it. And then they leave it. So what's the point of having paint protection film on a car if when it comes time to change it out, you don't change it because it's too much money or too expensive? If you're doing that, then there's no point. Because I can make your car look closer to new when you have no paint protection film and I fill your rock chips in with paint, you know, with touch-up paint, and I polish out any imperfections, and then the car will look like it's brand new, give or take 1 or 2 or 3%. This car's missing 10 or 15% because of the black lines all over it and the chips that are so bad that I can't fix even with touch-up paint, because you can't put touch-up paint in plastic. It just doesn't work. So you have to be fully committed to the fact that if you're like, I'm putting paint protection film on my car because I don't like chips, then you got to replace your film every time you get a chip. Because if you're not dedicated to that, you're putting money into a car that's a total loss, because what's the difference? You have chips no matter what. It's the same thing. So then there's the argument of, well, I'm protecting it for the next guy. Well, okay, that's a nice thought. You're so nice. You're protecting the car for the next guy. Guys, no car in the history of cars has ever sold for more money in the resale market of used cars. They never sell for more money because they have less rock chips or more rock chips or paint protection film. That is false, and it's just not true. Our customer with that McLaren P1, they bought a P1 and there's 2, 3, 4 rock chips on that car where there's no film. They didn't go, oh no, it's got chips in it, and then they skip the sale. I mean, that's never going to happen. And if it's not happening on $2 million P1s, then it's not happening on BMW M3s or S4s or S3s or AMG Mercedes. No one cares, guys. No one's passing on cars over rock chips. And if they're that bad, they get body shopped at the dealership if the dealership cares. And then they sell you a car with a body shopped hood or something. like, do you see what I'm saying? Like there's no argument ever for, oh, paint protection film increases value. Literally costs you money, and you have a loss on the car for putting more money into it. Take your $3,500 of PPF money and put it into a set of cool wheels, put it into an exhaust, put it into an intake, put it into a drone and shoot some cool footage of your car driving around that you'll have forever. Like, that is more personal value than putting paint protection film on your car. So I hope that all makes sense. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap up this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope this video gave you a glimpse into what paint protection film looks like when it's old, like 2 or 3 years old. Everyone knows what it looks like when it's brand new and we just put it on a car. So I hope this video gave some insight into that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you found it informational, please give it a like, please give it a comment. If you know someone or you are actively looking to buy a car and put paint protection film on it, if you are that person, then you just watched it. But if you know a buddy, make sure they see this video. It might be helpful to them. So I am not an advocate for or against paint protection film. I'm only here to kind of give you guys the facts of what I see when I see cars that have paint protection film on them. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we have so many more videos coming. Bye for now.